The Toronto Maple Leafs win 2-1 against the Boston Bruins in a must-win Game 5. I'm going to break down Matthew Knies' excellent play, Joesph Woll standing tall, and this one player impressed me, and a lot of people might have underappreciated his game. I'll get into this later on this episode. Before I start, I just want to say to thousands of you watching that aren't subscribed, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be all season long giving you updates from all around the league. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Leafs extend their season. Now, obviously, I'm sure anyone watching this is either a sad Boston fan or a super happy Toronto Maple Leafs fan, but the Toronto Maple Leafs do win Game 5 in overtime against the Boston Bruins. This game was a nail-biter. It looked like the Leafs had the momentum. Then it went to Boston. It bounced back and forth, but finally we've seen them win. Now I'm just going to briefly go over this. The Toronto Maple Leafs shots on goal was leading by 5 on the Boston Bruins. The face-offs the Leafs were excellent in. The power play continues to struggle, but that's for a different day. Who cares about that right now? Penalty minutes were in the favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hits were pretty much even, with one of the most hits I've seen in the Toronto Maple Leafs game in quite some time. Blocked shots were in the Bruins' favor, giveaways were in the Bruins' favor, and takeaways were in the Leafs' favor. Now, obviously, anyone that watched this game knows that this game was electric, and let's hop straight into the first thing that most people are fired up about: Matthew Knies. There's nothing else I really need to say other than this. Matthew Knies, I wanted to say at first, this is where the Bruins messed up this game. We've seen him shoving passes saying, "Come at me, you won't do it." This is what just kind of awoke something in Matthew Knies that we haven't really got a part of at all yet this season. Matthew Knies, after this, looked outstanding. We've seen him hard on the forecheck. We've seen him getting into the corners, winning battles, taking it hard to the net, and it was just a matter of time that Matthew Knies had a very nice goal. And this is the moment that I think the Bruins ultimately found out he's not someone you want to mess with. Now, obviously, Matthew Knies scored the OT winner, assisted by John Tavares and Ilya Lyubushkin. John Tavares did an outstanding job fighting it to the net, one-handed pass onto the net. Matthew Knies came in, cleaned up the job, and he was just outstanding in this game. Obviously, we've seen Jake McCabe score, which was one of the first points, and I actually think it was the first from a Leafs defenseman or goal, in this entire series. So seeing Jake McCabe get on the board and Mitch Marner and Domi assisting is huge, but obviously Matthew Knies was the winner and the guy that I wanted to talk about the most. Like I said, after we've seen the scrum happen, after we've seen him kind of getting into it with a bunch of players, he was an absolute monster. He was looking like a prime power forward, going into the corners, laying hits, and like I said, ultimately scoring the goal that won the Toronto Maple Leafs the game and extended their season. He was outstanding. I can't stop talking enough about him. This guy is the real deal, and I think going into Game 6, he's going to be the X Factor again. This guy also got first star of the game, which is much deserving. He was incredible. Like I said, I'm fired up about it, and I'm sure a lot of Leafs fans watching this. Matthew Knies is the guy, and this guy will be on the Leafs for quite some time. Now, obviously, if you were looking at the start of the game, you might have seen that the second star was Joesph Woll, and he stood tall. We see Joesph Woll with the second star of the game in his first playoff start this season. Obviously, he played last season, but coming into relief of Ilya Samsonov, we're seeing him get his first start, and he gets his first win. We do see Joesph Woll last year in the playoffs, 6 games played, 2 wins, a .929 save percentage, 1.94 goals against average. This playoffs alone, we see him having .970, a .75 goals against average with 1 win in 2 games. Like I said, he did come in support of Ilya Samsonov. So this is not technically his second game, I guess you could say, since he played a full period, but he did not take a loss for that game. When you do look at the 2 games he played, like I said, he saved 5 shots on the 5 that he had against him, against the Bruins in Game 4. Coming into Game 5, we've seen Joesph Woll step his things up, .964 save percentage. This was truly a battle of goaltenders, 28 saves. This guy was sharper than ever, and I don't think you can go back to Samsonov, as hard as it to say. Woll looked outstanding. We've seen a huge save to start overtime that really saved their season. We've seen some big saves. Yes, he lit in the second shot of the game, but after that, this guy was a brick wall, for better words, in the Toronto Maple Leafs nets. Like I said, 28 saves, 964 save percentage in just his career playoff game with a 929 save percentage. This guy, I don't want to jinx it, is the goalie of the future for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're starting to see the young guys really step their games up. And as I said, both of their young talents, guys that are in their second year in the NHL, are the two first and second star of the game in a must-win for the Leafs, where they don't have Austin Matthews, a guy that a lot of fans were worried about not having, but ultimately we've seen the two young guys step up, one between the pipes, one scoring the OT winner. We've seen the huge hug from both Knies and Woll ending the game after they won it, and it was just outstanding. But there is one guy that a lot of people might not be talking about. Maybe people didn't really notice this, and it was very noticeable to me, and that was Max Domi impresses. Now, when you do look at the score sheet, obviously, you see Tyler Bertuzzi with +1. You see Connor Dewar was just doing his thing. You see some guys with points. You see Mitch Marner obviously had an assist. John Tavares had an assist. Matthew Knies scored a goal. Jake McCabe scored a goal. But when you look at Max Domi, the part that I've really wanted to focus on, this guy was slid in as the first line center in the absence of Austin Matthews, and he did everything in his power to be absolutely perfect and more. We see Max Domi obviously at 24 shifts, 18 minutes and 54 seconds time on ice, which was almost the leader in total time on ice by any forward. We see he played power play. He looked great there. But the biggest thing I wanted to focus on, if you look on the right side of your screen, 3 down at Max Domi, 12 face-off wins, 2 face-off losses with an 85.7% face-off percentage. This guy is looking like the real deal, and I think Sheldon Keefe needs to look at the possibility of keeping this line of Marner, Bertuzzi, and Domi together, even when Matthews returns. We've seen this game just erupt. I don't even know how to say it. They looked outstanding. They were hemming the Bruins into the zone. They were getting chances. I think we're ultimately going to see, once again, Max Domi stay on this top line with Mitch Marner, Tyler Bertuzzi. John Tavares had a great game on the draws with 57.1. He had 12 wins, 9 losses. We see down through as well, a couple guys with 50%, one guy with 42% being Holmberg. But I think this is where we're going to see Matthews really take a step up and have this step down on this third line between Yarncroke and Robertson to maybe give the Leafs the bottom 6 scoring that they need. Maybe this is harder on the Bruins, that they have to look at this and say, hey, Marner, Nylander, Matthews, all split up. The third line are going to be matched up against the Bruins third line, which opens up Matthews scoring. So I think, Max Domi is the hidden piece that a lot of people might not be focused on. And I think him, Knies, and Woll are going to be game changers heading into Game 6 in Toronto, where they look to extend their season. So what's your guys' thoughts on all this? Are you fired up like I am? Do you think Max Domi is going to stay on this first line center with Marner and Bertuzzi? Because I hope Sheldon Keefe finally gets his stuff together and figures out, hey, this line was dominant. Let's put Matthews on the third line when he does return. What's your thoughts on Joesph Woll? What was your thoughts on Matthew Knies? Let me know down in the comments. But talking about comments, let's get into everyone's favorite topic, which is, sorry about that, and that is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today comes from the Ventures of Jimmy. And he says, looks like those emergency changes worked. And I completely agree with this as well. We did a video earlier just talking about how Matthews wasn't in the lineup, how Domi was sliding on the first line center, and how they were putting Joesph Woll in. It seems like everything that Sheldon Keefe finally did with this lineup was part of the reason why this team won. Like I said, I'm fired up. I'm probably not making a whole lot of sense. I hope you guys are having an amazing night too. They take Game 6 to Toronto. Are you bought in yet? If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go down, hit that like button, leave a comment. Like I said, you could be featured on the next episode of Hattrick HQ as comment of the day. But with that, take care and go Leafs go.